This morning I am introducing Marion Scharoun. Marion moved to Farmington from Raleigh, Mass. In 1990 with her husband Stephen and son George, who was starting first grade at Mallet, and her older son was away at college at the time. She joined the Historical Society about 15 years ago to learn about the history of the town and to meet people who have a similar interest in preserving history. So today she's going to tell us a little bit more about that passion and some of the work that she's done at the Historical Society. And I think if there's any people interested in potentially joining, now is a good time to ask some questions. Please join me in welcoming Marion. Put this in.
Oh, yeah. I guess so.
You want to wait?
Keep this off, I guess.
Yes, you can.
This little thing here is a microphone that goes to that, so
Oh,
you
boy.
just put paper on it and stuff it, like, makes noise.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm unaccustomed to public speaking, but I'll do my best. Just want to say I'm not a historian. My father was a history professor for many years and had a photographic memory. So as a result, I didn't have to remember anything or learn anything about American history. I just had to ask him. So I don't really have a good mind for dates and times and places, but I am interested in old things. And I've been lucky enough to work a little bit in restoration and conservation at the Maine State Museum, and a little bit in Washington with the conservator. So I've had a little experience with old things. And we have an old house. And I never throw anything away, so I have a lot of old things. When we moved to Farmington, I thought a good way to learn about the town and to meet people would be to join the Historical Society. And we also joined the Grange, which is another way to meet real Farmington natives. It's been quite an experience. So I'll give just a brief history of the Historical Society. I have to get my computer going here, if I can. Society was founded, and Paul will correct me if I get anything wrong here. I hope.
You're all right.
Oh, good. It's just a brief history. Society was founded in 1961 by local historians Ben and Natalie Butler. In 1971, its first building was acquired when the Women's Alliance, which managed the former Unitarian Church, the North Church, as we know it now, turned the building over to the Historical Society. And it became also a community center. It had been a community center for years and years. In 1993 or so, Peggy Titcomb, daughter of Harold A. Titcomb, bequeathed her house, Pine Tree Cottage, on Academy Street to the Society. This became, after much hard work by many volunteers, the museum and headquarters for the FHS, for the Farmington Historical Society, holding most of its collection and the office space. And I guess I could go to that picture. Everybody knows where that is. In 2012, after the passing of Debbie Mallet Cressel, her heirs asked if the Historical Society might be interested in purchasing the house her house at about half its value. A deal too good to miss. And there's the Octagon House. So now there are 3 buildings under the care of the Historical Society. From 2006 to 2013, the North Church underwent an extensive restoration, thanks to Taffy Davis, of the lower floor after flooding caused considerable damage. Thanks to a capital campaign and grants, and now it's a beautiful venue for fundraising events and rentals. The Octagon House has also suffered from too much moisture. That part of town is kind of a swamp. There's a lot of water that comes down off the hill, and it's caused a lot of damage to that area. And we just received a grant for rather extensive drainage improvements. Maybe you saw what was going on this past summer. And now the house is pretty dry, all things considered. So now we're able to improve the insulation. Part of our grant, which was a Belvedere grant that we got through the Maine Community Foundation, is for insulating the attic and improving the airflow and all of the octagon. So we might be able to afford to heat it. So it will be more ready for tours, rentals. We have a Christmas rental coming up. We're very excited. Through the pandemic, we haven't had too much going on there. We've had a couple of open houses. We'll be open on Chester Greenwood Day for tours. And we've had a few other open houses, Summerfest and that sort of thing. So we're excited about that. The Historical Society has worked hard to repair, maintain, heat, and insure and make safe the 3 properties, and has received generous donations and grant money. But it's a constant expenditure and a lot of volunteer time. We have no paid staff at the Historical Society. It's all volunteers. So the mission of the Historical Society is to discover, procure, and preserve the history of Farmington. The Society maintains and preserves its collection and encourages study and research of local history and to disseminate information. So what are we saving? What's in the collection? Oh, here's a picture of some work that was done. I forgot about this. The Belvedere on top of the octagon was leaking a little bit, and around the chimneys. So my husband, who you can see standing on top of the roof there, was up there doing some repairs and worked with Jeff Crockett to patch things up. So it's pretty dry now. I think we can continue doing cosmetic work without worrying about leaks. So in the collection, this is one of 6 cases of newspaper books. These are bound volumes of the Farmington Chronicle and Farmington Journal, Franklin Journal, sorry. Going back to the early mid-1800s to the 70s. If you want to go back in time, you should take one of these out and take a look at it. Here's an ad for a farm for sale. This is the Hillman Farm. I'm not sure of the date of this. I forgot to write it down. But as you can see, it's a giant farm. 4 barns, sheds, trees, hay, everything. It's got a sap orchard. $5,000. I believe that is at the end of the Twig Snapper Road, the Hillman Farm. Here's something in the newspaper. This is the train schedule. You could go anywhere you wanted to from Farmington in those days. Here is Isabel Greenwood's wedding dress. I'm sure everyone's seen that. This is in the Tickham house. It's on a rather ill-fitting mannequin. Something that we need desperately to improve are the mannequins for our garments and textiles. That's Chester's desk. This is Loose Studios camera. Maybe everybody sat in front of that for their school pictures. We also have all of the negatives from Loose Studios for Farmington residents that had their pictures taken. It's a vast collection, and that needs to be safely stored. We have documents. This is a list of temperance, of women that were supporting temperance from West Farmington. This is a bill of sale from 1794, which is the year that the town was incorporated. And I believe this land Davis is the name, so it could be, I don't know, West Farmington maybe. This is the original plot plan of the town on vellum. It looks like an old paper bag, but it's the original plot plan. And that's our new president, Jane Woodman, and Claudia Bell, our secretary. And Jane's holding a box of slides. We have a vast collection of photographs. We have some early furniture. Jacob Abbott's books are in that beautiful desk. some lovely everyday items in the Titcomb house. And recently we rearranged some of these things so they're easier to see. Stephen Titcomb, one of the first settlers, these are some items from his house from the 1700s. Military photos and memorabilia. And this little shoe. I think this shoe, or there are two of them, I'm not sure which one, I kind of zoomed through and took pictures, was found in the wall, if it's not this one, it's the other one, found in the wall of the Pillsbury house up on the Whittier Road. And this is called a concealment shoe. It was a tradition of English builders when they built a house to put a shoe in the wall to keep the evil spirits away. And this was carried over. So I don't think that when the Pillsburys found the shoe, they knew that what it was, but usually it was a child's shoe because it was least likely to be used again. A worn child's shoe, you could spare one. You wouldn't put in a decent shoe. So that's a cool thing. This is a bassoon with a mysterious history, and it's in the Titcomb house, in the Titcomb room, and you'll have to go there and take a peek at it, find out its story. We have thousands of photographs. I think the one on the lower left is the view of Farmington from Beechwood, the house that just recently sold. The fire, pictures of the fire and memorabilia from the fire. A dark day in Farmington history. Schools, this is the Knowlton Corners School. A ball team. And our volunteer Lane Nason is scanning all these photographs so they'll be available perhaps online. We're hoping to digitize the entire collection. Here's a picture of the Meeting House. We had a program with the history of Meeting House Park. This is where the courthouse used to be. It was then moved mysteriously, I don't know how they did it, to the parking lot, I think, of behind the dugout. And then they eventually tore it down. This is the interior of the North Church. This is an artifact in itself, I believe, and needs the only change that we've made, the Historical Society expanded the stage because of the concerts, one of the big fundraisers. So I think they did a great job. They made it larger, but kept with the architectural details. So it's really beautiful. Available for wedding rentals. This is a recent donation. This is Janice Maxim's great-grandfather's sleigh. His farm was up at the end of top of Parham Street, and she's donated this sleigh. She said he used to take it down the fairgrounds and run around the track on a snowy day, take the kids. This is a recent donation. This is a 1937 Frigidaire Refrigerator. It was in the Weber camp, now owned by the Condits it's in Wilton, but we took it anyway. It works great, and it doesn't come with the microwave, but it's fantastic, and I think it might go in the octagon. It's in there now in the barn, but it's beautiful. So this is just a little list of what, if you are dying to clean out your closets, we can't take everything, but we can take things that pertain to Farmington, if you know its history, if it's something that we can afford to conserve or store, if we need to buy it, do we have the money, what condition is it in, etc. Anything that comes into our buildings needs to be documented. We have a form to fill out. And if we can't keep it, if we have something that's better, similar, it's a duplicate, it's not really what we need, we have the option to sell it. If we did do that, any money that we made would go into the collection. We wouldn't use it to pay bills or anything, so. We can't save everything. Does anyone know where this is?
We all do. Yeah.
It's gone now. the owner, I spoke with the owner. She said, please save the building. I said, we just can't. We have 3 buildings we can't really afford already. But we did go in and document. We took pictures. It's not an original. It wasn't in original condition. But here's one picture of the inside. I believe that the paneling is not original, that it was a restoration job. But that was very sad. We felt terrible about that. As far as community outreach, we worked I guess we started in 2019. This is in the Grange Hall. It's Teresa Foster, she's a new member. We decided that we would do a reenactment of the Suffrage March to honor Isabel Greenwood, who was a pretty important suffragist in Farmington and in Maine. So we worked at the Grange Hall on Monday nights. There's Jane Woodman, and we worked with Grangers, and we had our march on Chester Greenwood Day. Maybe you saw us. We did Chester Greenwood Day, and we also had a march on the 100th anniversary. It was in August of last year, downtown, and had a little ceremony. It was really fun. Here's a piece of history. First woman governor of Maine from Farmington, marching with us. So we're all very proud of that. History is happening right now. This is a program, so we have monthly programs. First of the fourth Monday of the month. And we'll have a presentation. So these are outreach. This is an educational thing with our business meetings. This was a program that I presented on a project I worked at the State Museum. I worked with the 3 Wabanaki women on a replica of a Wabanaki chief's regalia. It's a replica of a 1700s outfit that belongs to a museum up in New Brunswick. We had a program on town farms. This is the 3rd town farm in Farmington. It was on Town Farm Road. So that was interesting talk. Lane Nason is working on colorizing black and white photos. It's rather controversial. Not everybody thinks it's a good idea. But I have to say, when you colorize the old black and white photos, you really see a lot more. So it's a temporary thing. It's digital. You're not actually changing the photo. It's just another way to look at that. And that's, of course, out at school. We have fundraisers. Don't forget to buy your wreath. They'll be on sale Saturday after Thanksgiving. So this is one way that we do raise money, is through our wreath sales, through room naming. This is the library of the Octagon. It's the Gould family library now. It's been named in the honor of the Gould family with a generous donation. So that's a possibility if you want a room. We have pie sales coming up day before Thanksgiving. We have the famous Farmington t-shirt, which, sales are booming. We've been selling these like crazy at Food City or at our open houses. And the concerts. The North Church concerts were a major fundraiser for us, but unfortunately we haven't had any for the past 2 years, I guess, now. We hope to go back to that because they were very profitable for us and fun. Everybody had a great time. We also had Christmas Through the Ages last year before last, where we set up 5 venues with 5 different eras. We had a colonial Christmas, what was the name of that? Another early Christmas. I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, 40s, 50s, and Victorian, not in that order. This was in the Octagon House. We were set up. I don't know if anybody came along and saw us. These are some of our younger volunteers. Lane and Austin, Fredericks, and Michaela. They're wonderful volunteers. This is them done up for the 50s. It was really fun. We had over 100 people come through all the houses. And this is an old picture of the Octagon House. I'm hoping that we are going to continue grant writing, fundraising. We need new members. We need volunteers. We need to have Stephen King give us some money. Because I think if I send him this picture, how could he say no? So it's an early picture of the Octagon. So I guess I don't know how I'm doing for time, but if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
I have one question. Where you mentioned the wreaths for fundraisers.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you get those if you were interested in purchasing?
We're going to be selling them on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so what's that, the 27th, at the Tickham House. And then on Chester Greenwood Day, we'll have them at the Tickham House and the Octagon. We'll be having an open house at the Octagon. And maybe the Tickham House. And if you wanted to, you could call Jane Woodman if you wanted to order some or set some aside. She's, I think, or Taffy. They're pretty much in charge of that.
Questions?
Any questions? Is anyone here a member of the Historical Society? Not enough people. Oh, there's somebody else.
No, just a question.
Oh, sure.
How many members do you have now?
You know, I don't know. I'm not sure. There's quite a few. There's a long, long list. But like any organization, it's the active members that you depend upon. And we maybe have 20, active members.
You meet regularly?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. We have, our meetings are the fourth Monday of the month. It will be coming up this coming Monday. We've been on Zoom, unfortunately. Previously, we always had a potluck and a meeting at the North Church. But we haven't been able to do that, and it doesn't look like we're going to be able to anytime soon. But on Zoom, if anyone's interested, if you're a member, you should be getting the email with the link. On the back table, I have a sign-up sheet. I have member forms and brochures. And if you wanted to just get on the mailing list without joining, you could just sign up with your email. There are also some wonderful copies of early maps, the 1861 map of Farmington. We found in the archives a giant pile of these wonderful maps. Your house might be on it, if you're lucky. And those are available if you'd like to pick one up. I won't ask for a donation, but we'll take it. We also have gift cards for sale. Unfortunately, we seem to spend most of our time fundraising and not enough time actually doing the work of the Historical Society. So, but we are reorganizing the Tickham House. We've gotten a grant for that. We'll be putting in a new, hopefully a new public research center where people can come in and research, look at the documents, look at the newspaper books. We'll have a computer, and that's in the works. It'll be seasonal. It'll be in what was once the sun porch of the Tickham House. The Octagon, hopefully, we'll be improving the cosmetics. It still needs to be some paint and paper on the inside upstairs. We're thinking long term about maybe an Airbnb. If you're having family come to Farmington, there's no place to stay, they may be able to stay at the Octagon House, which we think would be great. Sorry. Any other questions?
I'm sorry.
Do you have any formal connection to the Historical Society on Martha's Vineyard?
Not that I know of. I mean, there is a sort of a clearinghouse of the historical societies, but I know a lot of people in Farmington came from Martha's Vineyard. So we probably do have documents that go back, that trace back to Martha's Vineyard, so.
Is there going to be more than one Mary Ellen Edgerly custard pie available?
Mary Ellen is making 2 custard pies.
Okay.
The next day after the pie sale, she's going in for major eye surgery. So we can't believe she's making us pies, but yes, we have 40 pies, so you better come early. All right, thank you.